Adam P from
On
Florida.
live.
Okay. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful.
Adam from 49ers Insiders.
And we hope everybody had a blessed week. We welcome everybody to episode 4 of season 3 of Niner Faithful Radio. Today, we're going to go ahead and kind of just go a little kind of off-season review and get into some meetings, some stuff that we have. But and also make sure to stay to the end to get our special promo code that we give away every week for 20% off of Niner Faithful Radio shop. But before we get started today, make sure to get your questions to Adam or myself. You can email NinerFaithfulRadio@gmail.com or hit Adam up at
Yeah,
49ers Insiders.
I'll be around.
Adam is the one that's active on Facebook. I'm more Facebook. He's more Twitter. So hit Adam up at 49ers Insiders. You can go ahead and follow me.
Let me know if you guys have any questions about anything that you want me and TJ to discuss. Like I said, we'll be around.
Yep. Of course, we're having our weekly Twitter and Facebook polls. This week, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did last week, where we're going to have we're going to choose a couple participants to win tickets to the Niners official draft party at Pier 30, I'll get to it later, but the Niners official draft party. So make sure you participate in the weekly poll that will be coming out tomorrow morning. I have it scheduled for 6 a.m. So bright and early here on the West Coast. Kind of late for y'all on the East Coast, but also we got we're going to go ahead and announce our Faithful Winner contest for our Faithful Art contest at the end of the show. And of course, we're trying to monetize Facebook. So we got our 4,200 watch hours and 1,200 subscriber YouTube subscribers. We're going to go ahead and work with the Niners to be getting some lucky listeners to not only go to a Niner game with me and hopefully Adam this year, but also to go to Empire Row tailgate. And we're going to try to get a tour of the Niner Museum. And
God, it's fine. How many people do usually show up for those Niner Empire parties when you go to a home game?
Bruh, so we probably got it close to a couple hundred people.
No way.
Yeah.
Every time?
No. Yeah. It's.
Oh my God.
So basically, to sidetrack from the little intro real quick, to shout out Empire Row. So no, like it was started at Candlestick. So basically, what it is a bunch of local Bay Area, and we'll have some people that stop in usually for the home opener, but we'll have people from England, Germany, wherever, and it's literally just a row of the parking lot from one beginning of the parking lot to the little divider, just full of nothing but Niner fans.
Sweet,
different Niner Empire chapters. Different Niner Empire chapters. We have a DJ. We've given away tickets. We've had some Niners stop by. For us Giants fans, Andres Torres.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, come on, man. We're not going to get into baseball right now.
I know how it is. Honestly. I respect. I respect you.
For us Giants fans, we had Andres Torres, 2010 World Series champion. He stopped by a tailgate last year at Empire Row. We're working on getting some players to stop by. The official Niner pregame show for NBC Sports Bay Area. They like to stop by. They do a little segment on the show, and they like to stop by and say what's up to us. And Ian Williams. Big shout out to the homie Ian Williams.
Yeah, definitely. Love seeing him so active these days on Twitter. And
yeah. He actually gave the show last year for the Shecox game. He went ahead and gave the show a shout out. So that was on the pregame. So that was pretty dope. Yeah. So I got mad love for Ian Williams. I promise you, bruh, because I know that he does occasionally watch the show.
Yeah.
So I promise you, bruh, I'm gonna get your jersey. I told you that you come on the show. We're working out the details, but I'm gonna get your jersey, bro. I'm gonna have you sign it. But yeah. So yeah, come out to Empire Row, bruh. It's literally the time of the life. Bomb ass food.
I mean, I'm
the best time to come.
Very ashamed to admit it again. Still haven't been to Levi's out yet. I know. I know.
We're gonna get you out this year, bro. We're gonna get you out here.
Once again, we're going to the playoffs this year too, so it's just gonna make it that much sweeter. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what game, but we'll definitely have to line that up. And I would
We'll line it
both
up.
of our followers, you know, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. I would love to meet up any single person that we've interacted with and meet them in person and just continue to build relationships and continue to do our thing.
Of course. You know, Niner Faithful Radio, me and Adam really strive to make this a community. This isn't just me and him chopping up Niner football. I mean, that's what it is.
That's part of it.
We want as many people here, bro. Niner Faithful Radio is by the faithful for the faithful, and we really mean that. 100%. So, the best time to come, if you can only come to one tailgate this year, come to the rib cook-off, because like we have people there that are we have a professional chef, like that's the man's profession. A rib cook-off.
It's not every week. It's not every.
No. Oh no. Like we'll have food every home game. Like don't get it twisted.
Sure.
This is just something special that we do every year. That everybody, you know, we kind of have a rib cook-off, and I think the prize.
Sometimes it's multiple weeks.
Yeah, it's once a year. It's kind of just something special that we do. Obviously, we try to do it before the weather turns bad.
The biggest home game this year on paper, you know?
Probably Steelers. I would think that if now that is the Steelers travel well, so you know that there are going to be some Steelers fans there.
Yeah.
You know, Steeler fans travel well, but on paper, besides your normal yams, Sheekhawks, you know, besides those normal ones, I would say, or no, you know what? Let me take that back. Packers, the Whackers coming into town.
Okay.
That's probably obviously the Bay Boy Aaron Rodgers coming into Levi's for the first time. Or no. They've been to Levi's before. But the Bay Boy coming back, and obviously, you know, for us 90s babies or, you know, 90s kids or whatever. I mean, you know, I hate the Packers just as much as I hate the Cry Girls.
Baby in 1990.
Yeah, but for us who remember the 90s, I hate the Packers just as much as I do the Cry Girls. I mean, you know, Brett Favre can burn in hell.
I saw a little more of it. I know there was like I said, I became pretty much a fan like during the December of '97 is when I became a fan, and so I didn't get some of the I know we got knocked out a couple times by them in the playoffs, so I know obviously that carries a lot of weight. Obviously, if you got to witness it firsthand, but to me, I don't know. Like I don't mind my thing about a rivalry is like when both teams are good, and hopefully that's the case for. I mean, shit. Let's be honest. Like I know probably a lot of people don't want to see the Packers in the playoffs. But at the same time, it's good business.
I'm not worried.
Niners and Packers are playoff teams. Like, let's be real about that. Same thing with the Cowboys. Everybody hates them.
Yeah.
Look, when they're a playoff team, they're just the league is just that much more fun. And
I mean, I bet you if you put
the fire of the rivalry, I guess when it kind of.
I mean, I'll put you this way: if you put a gun to the NFL's, you know, league office's head, and they said your ideal, you know, NFC Championship game would be Niners Cry Girls. That would
all be the number one choice. I don't know if they want maybe, you know, Saints can you know, with Drew Brees, which that's what I feel like most of the people should be shocked about is like how is Drew Brees on low key on his last little leg and they didn't end up getting
dominating
last year. Like I would understand if the tables were like the Saints were like the team with a younger quarterback and all that. It's like no, screw him. Drew Brees is like say on the Rams in that particular situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's that. But
yeah. So just to wrap it up real quick, obviously go to SeatGiant.com, use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio for all your ticket purchases. Join our Patreon program for as little as $1 a month. You can get special perks like 20% off of Niner Faithful Radio shop, monthly giveaways, and an invite to join me and Adam on a segment of Niner Faithful Radio. Visit patreon.com/Niner Faithful for more. Visit Niner Faithful Radio shop. The homepage has the promotion we have for the San Francisco Legends tackle on ALS, $20 plus shipping and handling, and all the proceeds go to ALS research. Let's build that up. By the way, on a little personal note, I want to say that I am very touched. As many of y'all know, my birthday was 11 days ago, so actually we've probably done a show since my birthday. But anyway,
did you even mention anything?
No, I didn't. But actually, I'm surprised I didn't. But
so anyway, 50-year-old lady that can't tell anybody it's her birthday.
But so I'm touched. Of course, Facebook does the where you can make a charity foundation, and you can donate for your birthdays.
Birthday, which always comes in handy.
I believe it was $101 that got raised for the 49ers Foundation on my birthday.
$100.
And to every person that donated, whether it was 50 cents or even if it was one person that donated $101, thank you so much. I was actually really shocked. I literally thought that nobody was going to donate.
Yeah.
I literally didn't think that people were going to donate. That really like humbled me that people did that for my birthday, gave to the Niners Foundation, something that means a lot to me because it obviously meant the world to Dwight Clark. So thank y'all for that. That's pretty much it for the intro. Yeah, obviously go to NinerFaithfulRadioShop.com and make sure that now that you're watching us on YouTube, for those who are watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a video. I'm going to, as the season progresses, I'm going to try to do more things on YouTube, so it won't just be Niner Faithful Radio. I live in the Bay Area, so I live in San Jose. I bump into Niners all the time. I haven't recently, actually, but I used to bump into Dante Johnson all the time at Safeway right down the street. I used to bump into Dante Johnson all the time. So I actually told him that the pick six he had against Jacksonville, I said, hey, you should buy Eric Reed, a dinner, because Eric Reed was the one that caused that pick six against Jacksonville because he blasted. Eric Reed showed up with rude intentions.
Maybe if I rewatched that, I remember.
Yeah. No, if you rewatch it, Eric Reed showed up with rude intentions. But so anyway, if anytime I get a player, I will be going live on YouTube if they agree to come on. So for our pre-draft visits, like me and Adam we're talking about in our pre-show meeting, there's really not much to talk about.
25 days away. That makes me
25 days away.
Still getting caught up a little bit with just we discussed before the show actually kicked off. We're discussing, we're like, geez, how much more longer are we going to be able to tolerate this? Because we're bringing up draft visits right now, but really not all that much has changed from 3 weeks ago. I mean, a month ago. Like, honestly, what has really changed? I mean, I feel like Kyler Murray's been a damn near locked in that number one spot or, like I said, probably 3 weeks to a month now already. I mean, shit, the combine was February 26th.
Yeah, a month ago. Over a month ago. And it seemed like that's when, after his measurements and all that with Kyler Murray, it seemed like that's when pretty much low-key, almost getting to near that high-key status where it's at right now is, it seemed like he was kind of cemented into that spot. Partially cemented, maybe 1 foot cemented in. I guess you can say that. They would have to just get blown away by some ridiculous Ricky Williams type of package. To not
actually pull the trigger. I think they're doing their due diligence a little bit by
of course, you have to.
Because where it gets around to, and they absolutely do have to, because where it gets around to is we know the 49ers are not going to take a quarterback.
No.
So I bet they're probably, trying to make sure, I'm pretty huge on that. And obviously if that's your job, no stone left unturned. So are they possibly seeing if they can swap with the Jets? Still be able to take Murray there, knowing the Jets are maybe going to take Bosa. We're not going to take a quarterback. But then, when it all pushes up at the end of the day, and I've mentioned this before, let's just say they do swap with the Jets. They can't gamble. Obviously, they know that we're not going to take Kyler Murray. But then what would happen if we swap with the Raiders or some shit like that?
Yeah.
They would lose. They're not going to obviously take that gamble. And that's when I think comes around to us. Like maybe we're possibly considering, say, swapping with the Raiders or Jets ourselves.
Yeah.
But then once again, how do you gamble, being dead set on somebody, because that team can trade their pick to another team. Your guy gets snatched up a freaking pick ahead of you.
I never thought about the Cardinals trading with the Jets or Raiders, just because I never really considered that. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
But I just kind of figured I never thought of the Jets or Raiders moving up to get Bosa. I never thought about that, but that's a very strong possibility.
Well,
That
depending on what it's going to cost them.
but exactly. But also then that I pray that happens. I pray that it'll take Murray and if because this is my scenario then you have basically the best of both worlds because you
Are you
have
talking about for scenario for who right now? The Cardinals?
so for us. Because
Okay.
if you figure, let's say that they swap with the Raiders or Jets. Jets pick up Bosa.
Let's go with the
Okay.
Jets in this situation because the Raiders
Okay.
have 4 and they could be in play for Kyler Murray themselves. Let's just play Jets
Yeah.
game.
So so Jets move up, pick up Bosa. Arizona moves down
They
to
go to
third.
number 1. So we're on the clock.
How busy is John Lynch's phone right then? When he can literally go to anybody and say, you essentially have the pick of any quarterback you want.
Man, see, that's when it gets crazy because I think they reduced the time to 10 minutes now. I think it used to be 15 minutes, right?
15. It used to be 15.
I don't know how much calls. I mean, I guess I'm sure they know, like at that moment, like, yo, you got 20 seconds, 30 seconds to give us an offer. Especially if you're relaying the message to other teams, yo, this team is offering this and that and yada, yada. But I would be thinking, honestly, that then things would get very interesting because I think it'd be ringing pretty damn hot.
Yeah, I think that would have to be a trade that was executed before the draft. If the Cardinals are going to trade the first pick, I think it's going to be before the draft. Now, it might be the night before, it might be a couple hours before, just because.
Oh, you're talking about the Cardinals right now swapping with the Jets? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's not happening draft day.
It's not going to happen when they're on the clock.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that actually occurred? I
don't even want to think about the craziness.
See, that's when these discussions take place and make you okay. There's 25 days away, but you have these discussions. You're like, okay, I'm not getting quite that sick of. Yeah, we're all ready for the draft to be here.
Yeah,
not, you know what I mean? Going crazy.
Yeah,
I don't have any hair to pull, but you get.
I think I'll start to get antsy with about 10 days. About 10 days is when I'll really start to be like, all right, bro, let's just get this done. Let's just go, bro.
Unless we start hearing about some new smoke, at least,
of course, or trades, or
that's the problem. We're not look,
Mr. Lynch. I will say this right now, Mr. Lynch. If you're listening to the show, which I highly doubt, because I hope that you're busy making us a championship quality football team, but you never know. If you're listening to the show, please, by all means, make some trades or something. We're not do what you got to do. Give us something to talk about. You want to trade Jerick McKinnon, even though he's a part of our plans, which we'll get into next.
Yeah.
By all means, give us something but to me, that doesn't make it as crazy if we got, let's just say, a day to discuss with teams. Like, okay, are we going to pick? But to me, a team moving up past us to get Bosa, I'm not worried about, because the rumors I've been hearing is what I really think is I really think that they're torn, because Bosa is the safer pick. Bosa is the
Cardinals.
No, the Niners. I think the Niners are torn because Bosa is the safer pick. Bosa is the consensus number one non-quarterback. Number one pick.
Argue though, Quinnen Williams, who everybody kind of knows my stance on that. Like, hey, if we ended up drafting him, I'll probably be stunned for 20 seconds, and then I'll probably pound my drink and be excited at the dog because I got full faith in this regime and all that.
Yeah, so, Quinnen Williams
you can make an argument for Quinnen Williams to be the safer pick.
Yeah, I'll put it to you this way: Nick Bosa makes fans happy, and we're all celebrating. We got Bosa, and all that, and trust me, the first thing I'm going to do after the draft is when we draft Nick Bosa is Friday morning. I'm going straight to the library, putting Nick Bosa jerseys on NinerFaithfulRadioShop.com. You are Niner Faithful Radio Shop. That's the first thing I'm doing Friday morning if we draft Nick Bosa. Best believe I'm going to make some money off of Nick Bosa jerseys.
Yeah. Well, first, if we do take him, he has to do a little negotiating with Dakota Watson, who currently wears number 97.
97. That is true. Or how about this? Neither of them get it, and it gets not. Jed York has came out, which we'll get into Jed York as well, but Jed York came out and said he's not a big fan of retiring jerseys. he's more into taking them out of commission.
Part of that is, and the Twitter world's been talking about, is we've already got a freaking certain amount of already.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So it's going to get to the point how much kind of longer
jersey
and all that. And
anyways,
back on point a little bit.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah. So Nick Bosa jerseys will be on sale, but I think Quentin Williams is the pick that we're happy that we make. Kind of like the almost like that. I remember a little bit of stirring when we drafted NaVorro Bowman, because we had, at the time, we had DeKale Spikes and Patrick Willis.
Right.
But I don't see anybody complaining that we drafted NaVorro Bowman now.
No. Well, top of the third round, kind of like Fred Warner-ish a little bit. He fell because I think NaVorro Bowman was essentially a little of a bad boy from what I remember at Penn State. Yeah. Kind of got him to slide at the third round, top of the third round, I believe.
He had some issues. Had
a first round grade on him. That some picture leaked out on the internet that I remember of their actual draft board. I don't know how the hell that happened. Anyways, they had a first round grade on them. Anyways, point still stands. Takeo was looking solid at the time.
Yeah. But so my point is, so to me, in your scenario, the Jets trade up with the Cardinals. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. You want to pick Nick Bosa because sometimes, these things will all play themselves out. And so to me, the fact that the Jets took Nick Bosa might it's little things like that sometimes affect history.
See, I would love to know how much the Giants value Kyler Murray. And the crazy thing about that is a little bit, it's like, man, like imagine if you did still have Odell Beckham, if you're a Giant, and then you're able to actually land like a Kyler Murray. Imagine how that zone read with Barkley, obviously. So it's kind of screw that up a little bit, but obviously I'm sure they're targeting some other wide receivers. It's a solid draft, as everybody knows.
I think that's
right now, but they can get lucky and find another gem or two at wide receiver. Sign Golden State to compensate for OBJ a little bit, but.
My scenario is let me throw this out to you. Not how much do they value Kyler Murray? How much do they value Josh Rosen?
That's a tough one.
Because I think everybody.
I think they try everything pretty much to throw it out an offer of not everything but the kitchen sink. But I don't think the number 17 pick that they got from the Browns is going to be in play for Rosen. And honestly speaking, I would, personally, just obviously depends on how some scenarios and situations and how they value things. Let's just say, though, they can't get Kyler Murray and they don't get Haskins, right? And Josh Rosen could be in play for them. I would trade their 17 overall pick from the Browns if Cleveland, say, gave me back possibly like a third. That's hopefully a little higher. So you trade a first and you get Rosen in a third. I think that's solid. But they could be targeting another position there where they try to center a package around, say, their second round pick. And then plus some. They don't have a third because they gave that up for the supplemental draft. Excuse me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, I wouldn't be surprised. Patriots
because.
Give up that 32 overall pick. You get Josh Rosen, train his ass up for 2-3 years, and over for Brady. I think
and that's something that hasn't really been talked about a lot either. Is kind of because as we all know, and by the way, thank you, Tom Brady. Brady's hissy fit landed us Jimmy G. Cool. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And so, but it comes to a time where, as an organization, assuming Robert Kraft keeps ownership and all that. But as an organization, you're going to have to move on for Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to do it. And so, and I understand that it's ideal. Brett Favre talked about how he didn't feel it was his job to get Aaron Rodgers prepared.
Oh, yeah.
Joe talked about Steve. He didn't feel that it was his job to get Steve prepared. Joe has always thought Steve was direct competition to him. Because Bill,
these guys' stories, being alpha male.
Yeah.
I personally think
exactly.
As soon as you hear that, you're like, man, that sounds like a little drastic in terms of. I also think I remember too. It was saying, I don't know if it was Brett Favre or somebody else, but hey, if they kind of ask me, sure, I'll kind of say some information, but I'm not going to essentially go out of my way to
have him take my job.
Right. It could
I
easily
mean,
not have been. It could easily
not
not
everybody's,
have been
yeah,
me. But I remember just a scenario like that. Like, hey, if he wants to ask me, fine. I'm
yeah.
not gonna go out of my way to freaking coach this guy up.
I mean, not everybody's Joseph, which by the way, go to my personal Facebook. I have just this picture. I'll send it to you, bro. I'll send it to the group chat.
For sure.
But this picture just essentially describes why Joe Staley and Mike McGlinchey are best friends. It's just an absolute hilarious photo. But, not everybody's Joe Staley and Mike McGlinchey, because let's be real, Mike McGlinchey was drafted to replace Joe Staley. I mean, that's the consensus. That's the
Mm,
consensus that I'm not saying it's a slam dunk.
I
I'm
mean,
not saying it's a slam dunk.
we don't. I mean, we don't know though because he could. I mean, they could easily just say, Big Mike stay at right tackle for the next.
Oh yeah.
But I see what
I
you're
mean,
saying. Like he could be in play to be the
yeah.
pretty much the picture or what's it called? I don't know, like the statue of like. Nah, that doesn't make sense either. He's like
Basically, yeah.
the poster boy of taking over
Yeah.
the tackle position essentially for Big Joe. There you go. That's what I meant.
I mean, obviously nothing's set in stone. And Mike McGlinchey came out and said, "Hey, look, last time I checked, right tackles were playing in the NFL, so I'm all right." Like he said, he's not tripping about being left or right tackle. And so, and look, for all we know, you don't know the future. The Niners could get a left-handed quarterback. I was just discussing with somebody. I was just discussing with somebody today that I wanted to shake Steve Wallace's hand because Steve Wallace protected. He was our right tackle, but he protected Steve's blind side.
Yeah, good point.
So I
We're
mean,
probably not in too deep with those thoughts. Obviously, hopefully, Jimmy's here for the next 10+ years.
oh, of course. Jimmy G. Cole is going to be a Niner for a long time.
You never know.
Of course, you never know. I'll put it to you this way: circa 2012, how many Niner fans thought that we would be in 2019 and not be talking about Colin Kaepernick as our quarterback?
Yeah, I mean,
right? In 20,
as heck.
If I interviewed you after the Super Bowl, not after the Super Bowl, because that emotions were high. But let's just say going into the playoffs of the 2013 season,
I'll do you one better. When even after the off season from hell in 2015, when all the boys started, you know what? I don't know. I would hope. I obviously that 49ers faithful thought the same thing. I was like, you know what? I was like, yeah, it might be Jimmy T, but I was like, we retained Jeep Christ as offensive coordinator. I'm sorry. We retain him as offensive coordinator. He got promoted offensive coordinator.
Yeah. He was promoted for quarterbacks. Yeah.
That I was like that aspect of we're going to have continuity there, like obviously within the same scheme. And I was like, Colin Kaepernick is going to take a step forward, and we're going to be just fine. I didn't think we're going to I wasn't saying maybe we're going to go to the Super Bowl, but I was obviously thinking you could let's just say that Colin Kaepernick was tearing it up, and I know the personnel wasn't as good and all that. I pretty much, long story short, I thought he was going to have a chance to maybe have us a winning record or at least have a shot at the wild card or something like that.
I think
So we know how that went.
As I look back, 5-11 was a disappointment, but not a catastrophic issue.
Season?
No, I'm saying 5-11 for 2015 wasn't the. That was probably, looking back, that's probably about where we were. We were probably about a 5-11 football team.
Yeah. Funny thing was opening up against the Vikings.
The Vikings,
contending team, and we're like, see, things are gonna be just fine.
And think about how we obviously know now, but think about people were questioning getting rid of Frank Gore after the Vikings game. The way that Carlos Hyde performed, people weren't questioning getting rid of Frank Gore.
I was personally 1,000% on board of it's Carlos Hyde's time. He was young.
Yeah.
Once again, same scheme, because I was for it.
But obviously we know. I don't.
I mean, shit.
I want to say.
Yeah, I wish you would have retained freaking Frank Gore for 2-3 more years.
Yeah, obviously. But I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, right, brother?
Yeah. Well, especially coming from the Bill Walsh type of thinking.
Always better to get rid of a player a year early than a year late. And which is the reason why I think that fueled the, let's just say, creative tension between Steve Young and Joe Montana, was that Joe knew that,
that was the plan. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I mean, Joe had came out. There was an interview that he did in the '80s that he has said if Bill came to you and said, Joe, it's time to hang him up. He goes, would you retire or go play somewhere else? He goes, I would go play somewhere else. Hence what he did.
No, the only reason why that shit occurred is because Steve Young was so damn good. Like that's doesn't happen every day. And
no.
Joe laughed at the idea that Steve Young developed that much as he did. And hashtag Mike Shanahan. I'll always remember. I'm sorry to freaking Mike Shanahan. Pretty much, I remember Steve Young saying this. Like Mike Shanahan would make me watch so much film. He forced him to watch a lot of film. Anyways, go on.
Look, good segue to something I definitely want to make sure that we mention. That I think this is a big thing. Also a quarterback that I won't say was forced, but this is an article from Niners.com. It will be in the show notes, as well with the draft party stuff and other things. Go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com/show notes to check those out. But also, to perfect segue into this, apparently during December when Mike Shanahan came out to visit Kyle Shanahan, his grandkids and stuff, he spent a lot of time watching film with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh yeah, we really cool. Talk about that.
Yeah, and that to me, I'm salivating at that, y'all. Oh my God. I'm salivating at that.
And I'm not sure, like, have I become more of a conspiracy guy as I've gotten older? I would say so for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just going further into thinking and all that. But honestly speaking, ever since we hired Kyle Shanahan, I was like, Mike Shanahan, you think he's just scratching around behind the scenes at his house, like just randomly calling Kyle, like, hey, how's the team stuff going these days? Like, hell no. I bet you
that's his dad.
And they're football guys, dude. Like, Mike Shannon's like, yo, send me some tape of whatever, yada, yada. Let me check out these, you know what I mean? He could be working with a scout team because why not? So
in the article,
I've been thinking on the lowdown, he's already been helping out. But
he has
record though that he did spend some time.
Yeah. Oh well, in the article it mentions that Kyle had came to his dad and was like, hey, do you want to get away from the kids and watch some film? And he was like, thank you. And Jimmy went with him and everything like that. And so to me is that I love Cap, but I was a big Cap supporter, and everything like that. But to me, what I love and the reason that I'm so high on Jimmy G Cool is I don't see Cap doing that. You see what I'm saying? I don't see Cap meeting with Mike Shanahan to watch film. I'm not saying that he wouldn't. I'm not saying that Cap didn't spend hours watching, but I to me, what it sounds like is that Cap, to me, the problem with Cap as a quarterback is Cap is what a lot of people and why some people struggle in the NFL is they're used to being the best athlete on their team. Cap was used to being the fastest and all that. And
you got to remember the reason why a lot of the offense took off and people, I don't know if they want to make themselves forget, but freaking pretty much Harbaugh's Powerball, that only had certain potential. Yeah, when you have a lead and you're running the ball and the defense playing great, but let's not forget how much of a phenomenon the zone read was, which honestly almost the Super Bowl. Without the zone read, do we get that far? I'm not quite sure.
Well,
the favorites, but it wasn't like that. Obviously, was a huge reason why we got that far. Honestly speaking, I wanted to throw this out there while we're on the subject. I threw this out like a month or so ago. But, dude, do you remember the quote from Colin Kaepernick when some reporter, I don't know who it was, asked him about mechanics, and Cap straight up looked at him and said on record that he's not that huge into mechanics?
Yeah, that really kind of –
it was probably, to be fair, and people over-scrutinize athletes, and that shit kind of irritates me, to be honest. But to be fair, he was probably 24, 25 at the time.
Yeah. Because what was Cap? Cap was an athlete, bro. He wasn't a quarterback. He was an athlete.
Yeah. I mean, there's
and that's fine. That athlete almost won us a championship. That athlete almost won us a championship. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad. I love Colin Kaepernick. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? As an activist and as a quarterback. I think that the Niners could have put him in some better positions to succeed.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
I'm not saying the Niners are clearly at fault, but this is the reason why I don't blame the Niners. And this is the one thing that I think separates me from a lot of Cap fans is, did he have faults as a quarterback? Plenty. I remember watching the play where Torrey Smith was wide open and Cap's literally not even looking anywhere near him. And
Bottom line,
and and Torrey Smith sitting there going like this, and jumping up and down.
and that's part of it, honestly. And that's when quarterbacks eventually die as like
Yeah.
quarterbacks. As we all know, like Derek Carr is the first one that kind of comes to mind. When
Mm.
things start going kind of bad, and we're human beings. I mean, shit, it can
Yeah, of
happen.
course.
Like it can happen in an ordinary job when things can get kind of bad. It's like there's so much kind of going on
Hmm.
mentally because you want to try to execute to the best of your ability. That like if there's almost too
And
much
it's,
on, and you've had too many bad experiences a little bit, like that shit
well,
can kind of
especially, I mean, if you look at this, it's kind of funny to go back, but look at the difference between Alex Smith and Cap.
well.
Okay, look.
Let me ask you this question, and it seemed like you already
Mhm.
are part of it. And sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
Do you think Colin Kaepernick was balls deep doing whatever he possibly could
to get better.
to get better? Not even to be a great quarterback either again or in the time while he was considered being great.
No. Do I feel that Cap put every ounce of effort into being the best quarterback he could possibly be?
How
No.
is he now? I was just thinking, like we all know the
Like,
Cunningham story.
no,
We
I
know
would,
Michael Vick
no.
as athletes of quarterbacks, but they eventually came around and they got
Yeah.
up and they
This is my thing about it is now I don't want to say that Cap doesn't train hard. I'm not saying that Cap doesn't look. You don't get that type of physical conditioning without training hard.
yeah. But
But what we're talking it, unless I misunderstood you, I think what you're talking about is he watching 8 hours of film a day and it
balls deep is
yeah
shit,
yeah
that could be
you know
15 hours. Yeah,
it was funny.
whatever.
I remember last year I went to training camp. And I've been to training camps with Cap before too, and things like that. And I remember, after the players start to disperse in the meeting rooms and things like that, after autograph sessions and everything, I'm watching Jimmy G Cool work on his dropbacks, after practice, and I believe it was probably just him and the quarterback's coach, or if it was indeed the quarterback, Rich Candela, I believe it was. And I remember looking at my Empire mom, Miss Debbie, and I said, who we're both big Cap supporters.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, you know what, Miss Debbie? And I said, I love Cap. I got my number 7 jersey. You feel me? I said, but I don't think Cap would be doing that right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see Cap working after practice on his drop back.
You know me, but
And that's not a net.
I always
Huh?
try to play both sides. It's not to do
No.
that just to push anybody's button. And some people, like, I could hear that and I might be like, hey, that might be a reach. You could easily be right. But just to be fair,
Yeah.
just because you always got to kind of talk for both sides.
Of course, I wasn't there after every practice.
But we kind of go back to like when he did have the time spent here, and who knows, dude? To be honest,
Yeah.
if he eventually got kind of tired of Harbaugh and shit like that, and he was,
Yeah.
I can't be around this shit so much, and that took away from his job because he didn't want to be around as much anymore.
Hey, honestly,
that's what-
look, I'm a full believer.
You never know a little bit.
Look, Harbaugh lost the locker room.
But
That's
just
key.
while we're at it, we got lucky with Jimmy G, like because we all know how Bill Belichick is so relentless. Even Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
So imagine like how much they were pressing probably Jimmy G's buttons. Like, hey,
Oh yeah.
you trying to beat out Brady, or you could just content being the backup? Like,
Yeah.
shit,
Oh, I could see Belichick. I could see Belichick laying into his ass.
to Wes Welker of Football Life yesterday, and even when Wes
Mhm.
Welker was at his peak with the Patriots. So let's just say it was around like 08, 09 or something like
Yeah.
that. But at the time, Julian Edelman was kind of around, and it's pretty much long story short, Bill Belichick brought up a point about Lou Gehrig, and he was either a starter, a backup, or somebody. Where I was trying to get at, he pretty much wanted to whisper to Wes Welker that like this guy right here could be the guy that pretty much
End your career.
he could be the guy that eventually takes your job,
Yeah.
just to motivate him to stay locked in and to take it to another level. Anyway,
So, I mean-
right? Bill Belichick.
Yeah. So I mean, my thing about this is that I personally I wasn't there every day after practice, but just off of what I'm seeing, and so that's the reason why I'm so high on Jimmy G Cool is that I see him doing things like that.
Yeah.
I believe this offseason, every ounce of knowledge and every ounce that he got as much as he could out of last season being hurt and the films.
I mean,
I believe Jimmy G Cool got every ounce of last season that he possibly could. And that he will be.
People are going to underestimate the knowledge and how much further I would hope can say mastered. But I don't think we're at the mastering point. But let's just hope he's right damn near knowing the in and outs of the offense. So really, it's going to be a lot of it is obviously just rehabilitating to getting his body back to where it used to be. But at least the mental aspect is there in terms of he could just focus a little more on the physical part. Because everything is flowing nicely in there right now.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, I think what to just real quick before we get out of here, just to finish up on the Alex Smith and Cap thing, I think what you saw is two quarterbacks whose careers obviously were different trajectories. Alex Smith got beat to hell, benched, called out by his coach. You know, I swear I put it on my daughter's life. Me and my baby mama both. The Eagles game, the famous "We Want Car" game. Mike Singletary, I read Mike Singletary's lips. He said, "You will not be here next year." I read his lips as clear as day. My baby mama saw the exact same thing. He said, "You will not be here next year." Right? And
who was around? You said
Singletary.
Singletary, but are we talking about Troy Smith,
Alex Smith,
and almost getting?
It was the Eagles game. It was the Eagles game. I believe it was Monday Night Football. Yeah, and so you're talking about Alex Smith. Now Cap comes in. Well, how did Cap's career took off? Remember the Bears game? That was essentially when
Alex Smith got his concussion and Colin Kaepernick took over. Random as hell.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, so I mean. Perfect example. Cap's career. I mean, name an adversity Cap really faced.
What is?
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Eventually, eventually, just hardball mutually parting ways.
So my thing about it is that I thought now I'm not saying Colin Kaepernick's soft person or anything like that. Please,
sexual assault allegation.
What? I'm sorry?
Wasn't there a sexual assault allegation? Like
on Cap?
2014, I think.
I believe there was a report about something, but it was never.
It never. Obviously,
nothing ever became of it.
It sounded like it was a.
Yeah, nothing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nothing ever came of it.
Yeah, that just kind of came to mind.
Yeah. But I mean, what I'm saying is he didn't take the Alex Smith treatment.
Oh no!
And I think that's why so many Niner fans really want to see Alex Smith succeed, is because I really wished we would have won that championship, because Alex really does deserve a championship. Man, that man's been through a lot.
And
I mean, think about it.
He's gonna sit out next season, and then he's gonna come back, and he's gonna come back in 2020.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine this. Imagine the albatross around his neck, because he was the quarterback taken instead of Aaron Rodgers. He'll always be that. He will always be the quarterback that was taken ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
Dude, I mean, his last two coaches, freaking obviously, Harbaugh handpicked Cap. He took over.
Yeah.
He goes to Kansas City, and Andy Reid does the same exact thing with him. And Patrick.
Alex Smith is an amazing man. All right, well, it's almost that time, y'all. But before we get out of here, we, of course, would like to remind you to do all the things that we said in the beginning. Use the promo code FAITHFUL, all undercase letters, for your 20% off this week. It'll end Saturday at 11:59 p.m. If you're listening as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, and Blueberry, please give us a 5-star review and leave us comments. Please, it really, really helps the show grow. You have anything to add, Adam?
25 days from the draft. Freaking stay patient, and we'll definitely be keeping you tuned.
We love it.
Smoke and mirrors that we hear about.
All right, make sure to follow Adam at 49ers Insider. Follow Niner Faithful Radio at Niner Faithful on Twitter, Niner Faithful Radio on Instagram, and Facebook. We shall see y'all next week. same bat time, same bat channel. Till then, faith, love, and happiness.
God bless. Good.
Go Niners. See, I'll
Take
talk to
care.
you in